Greetings and salutations, everybody. Lord X here, coming at you with an update for the 2021 Glitched Out Gaming Fantasy Draft. And folks, oh boy, what a half a year it's been. Pretty much everybody's roster is filled out at the point. Some of us, me, have had to use all three of our replacements. I think I've used all three of mine. I'm pretty sure I have. Well, we'll see that in a few minutes. But yeah, it's time to do an update for the draft. If you haven't seen the original pick video, I'll link it down below in the description. If you want to go check that out first to see how it started before you're coming back to here to see how it's going. So, without further ado, let's just dive straight into it. We're going to go person by person here. First off, we're going to go with the man who drafted first, the guy who's been doing it with me now for the past few years, DC Radaya with the Boreal Express. And yeah, as you can see an overview here, DC, if he was playing golf, he'd be killing us both. But maybe not the best, unfortunately. Sorry, DC Radaya. Love you, man. So let's run down through DC's current roster here. I believe he's only have had to use one drop so far. Starting off, he had Bravely Default 2, which has released. Came out with a 78 open critic score, which means he got 8 points from that. Next up, Back 4 Blood has not released yet, so no score there. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, unfortunately, will not release, and DC cannot drop that one because of a counter pick by Aussie Legend, which we'll get to later. Next up, you had Digimon Survive. Right now, we don't know if that's coming out this year. It still has an estimated release of 2021, but it's been pretty quiet as far as I know. Next up there on his list is Werewolf the Apocalypse Earthblood, which came in with a 53 score, which gives DC a negative 14 on his scoreboard. Not great. Next up, new Pokemon Snap. A surprising 80. Honestly, that really did surprise me. That was a solid 10. That's a good pick. I believe it, just watching the Easy Allies stuff, I believe for what they have said, or kind of the creator of the website, Fantasy Critic, that 77 is around the average, so that was above average. So that was a good pick by DC Radaya right there. Next up, No More Heroes 3 has not released yet. That's coming out in August, so it's right around the corner. That's actually on August 27th. Family member's birthday there for me. Next up, you had Nier Replicant version 1.22474487139, which came out with a 83 overall, which gave him 13 points. I remember I tried betting on that as well, but I got outbid, so that was a great pickup there by DC Radaya. Next up, Harvest Moon One World with a 51 with a negative 14 score. Ouch, that hurts. Next up, Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection with only a 75, so they gave it 5 overall. That honestly surprised me, because that game was looking actually pretty nice looking. Just didn't pan it with critics. Next up, Balan Wonderworld with a 48, which means a negative 15. Ouch. Again, that hurts. Next up, Evil Dead the Game has not released yet. Ghostwire Tokyo, which has an estimated release of October of this year. I really hope that game does well. It looks really cool. That's my type of horror-ish type of game, so hopefully that does well. It's one of the two really odd Bethesda published PlayStation timed exclusives coming out in the fall, and was not talked about at all at Microsoft's press conference, which I found a little bit hilarious. Bethesda has these two big games coming up, but we're not going to talk about them because they're timed exclusives on PlayStation. Next up, he had Biomutant with a 67 with a negative 3. That hurt. Looking into that game, that looked like a solid 75 to me. Alright, swimming in 7s, but fortunately didn't pan out. 67 with a -3. Then finally, DC has Psychonauts 2, which that's a really good pick in my opinion. That's probably going to score really high. Projected points right now is a 9.1, so yeah, I think that game's going to do really well. If anything, it's going to hit that nostalgia button for a lot of people who are going to love that game and rate it really high. And he has Monster Hunter Stories 2, Wings of Ruin, which releases on July 9th, so another game right around the corner. With projected points of 5.9. I think that game's going to do really well. People are on a Monster Hunter high right now, so I think they're going to like that. And with his counter picks, DC has picked Hitman 3, which unfortunately got an 86 overall score, so a -16 points. And Kena Rage of Spirits, which has not released yet, which is one of my games. DC's overall total fantasy points, -27, unfortunately. So, like I said, if we're playing golf, DC is killing us. X Zone Studios from yours truly. Right off the bat here, we got Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart with an 88 overall, so an 18 points. Pat myself on the back there, a great first round pick. You'll see as we go on that maybe I got a little too hopeful this year with my picks within this draft. Next up, Horizon Forbidden West, which has not released yet. They're shooting for a holiday release, so there's still a chance. There's still a hope I can get that game. But I wouldn't be surprised if it gets delayed to like February or March as the first game released before. So that's probably going to be a 2022 game, unfortunately. Next up, Resident Evil Village with an 84 overall, which gave me 14 points. Yeah, awesome pick. I hate praising myself up, but yeah, that was a good, third round pick. Next up, Kena or Kana Bridge of Spirits, however you want to pronounce it, has not released yet. That comes out August 24th. Right now it has projected points of 10.8. Will that stick? Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised if that game gets delayed. Next up, Monster Hunter Rise. That was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th overall pick there. I think I might have had something else there higher up. I honestly can't remember right now. But, yeah. 5th overall pick, got an 88 overall with an 18 points. That was a good pickup right there. Next up, Bayonetta 3. Yeah, that's probably next year, hopefully. So that's probably going to be a big old 0 there for me. Next up, Disgaea 6, Defiance of Destiny. Reviews are still coming in for that, so it isn't been finalized yet. But right now it has a 76 overall. Next up, I had Cyber Shadow, Stray, which has not released yet. Does not have a release date. It's estimated to be October, I hope. Then I picked up Cyber Shadow, and that got an 82, so 12 points right there. That was a really good pickup after the draft. Sports Story I grabbed as well, to be estimated. That might just randomly drop, I hope. Just sometime this summer, Nintendo's like, hey, guess what? Here's Sports Story. Next up, I got Crystals, which is coming out July 20th. Estimated points right now, only 4.6, so hopefully good. Pinball FX I picked up. It says that it's coming out this year. As soon as I saw the release date, I'm like, these games always kill it. I'll grab this, really cheap, I think I did. So, 1.9% 1.9 projected points. That's probably going to be a 0 for me or negative. Next up, Total War Warhammer 3. They says it's coming out this year. That's when I grabbed it. I'm not going to be surprised if this is delayed. Next up, Mario Golf Super Rush, which I managed to pick up. It got a 75 with 5 points. Not great. I should have realized that Mario sports games have been kind of going down the drain, but it looks so promising. I've got a copy coming in the mail at some point that I used air miles on, so I'm looking forward to playing it still. I like golf games, especially cartoony ones, so looking forward to actually playing that myself. Next up, Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp, coming out That's a dicey one because it releases on December 3rd. So maybe get in this year. If it does, it'll be a good hit. And finally, my last pick, Death's Door. This is a Devolver Digital published game. It's looking good. And then my two counter picks, both of which have been locked in at this point for releasing or not releasing. First off, I had Elden Ring counter picked, one of Ozzy Legends picks. That will not release. That's coming out in January, so that'll be one of the highly contested grabs, I would assume, first overall picks in the 2022 draft when we do it. And finally, my other pick, Werewolf the Apocalypse Earthblood from DC Rodaya. Like I just spoke about, it got a 53, so I ended up with 14 points because of that counter pick. So that gave me right now, as time of this recording, on June 27th at 1:57 p.m., 81 points. Now, finally, we pop over to Ozzy Legends picks. So first pick, Elden Ring, will not release. His first overall pick was Breath of the Wild, but that's been confirmed as 2022 as well. So he dropped that one to pick up the game that I'll talk about at the very end of his list. Next up, Hollow Knight Silksong. We haven't heard anything about that game right now. It's listed as a to-be-announced title with a projected points of 11.9. When that does release, that's going to do killer numbers. So if that releases this year, Ozzy's got gold on his hands right there. Next up, Guilty Gear Strive with an 85, which gave him the 15 points. Great pick. Was not thinking about fighting games when we were doing our picks. I should have known that one. Next up, Hitman 3 with an 86. That gave him 16 points. Fantastic pick right there. Next up, Shin Megami Tensei 5. Got a release date of November 12th of this year. Amazing grab there from Ozzy. In 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This would have been his 6th overall pick, I think. So, awesome grab right there. It's like picking up Michael Jordan 6 overall. Or Wayne Gretzky. That game is going to do fucking phenomenal. Cannot wait for it. Next up, Axiom Verge 2. It's saying it's coming out this summer. Hopefully it does. It has a projected points of 8.4, so that's going to do awesome numbers right there for Ozzy as well. Next up, Forza Horizon 5. That's an easy 92 to 95 overall right there, in my opinion. Ozzy's going to kill that game alone. Next up, Returnal with 86 points. 86 score, which means 16 points. Incredible grab there by Ozzy after the draft as well. 12 minutes. That's going to kill. That's it on August 19th. There's projected points of 9 right now. Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. That's coming out November 19th. It's got projected points right now of 7.6. That's going to do no less than an 80. That's going to be easy 84 to 85. 1, because of the Nintendo bump. 2, because it's Pokemon, and that will do well regardless. AKA look back at Pokemon Snap. So yeah, that's an easy 80 right there. Eastward, I had kind of forgotten about that. I believe DC picked it in our draft for 2020. It didn't release then. Still has a to be estimated release date. If that comes out, that's going to do really well. And then Ozzy just he won the draft right here with this one, in my opinion. Diablo 2 Resurrected, coming out September 23rd with a 6.8%. I've seen the footage afterwards. I know this one was kind of highly debated within the fantasy draft community over if it should have been allowed or not in the remake or remaster category. They're counting it as a remake, so it's valid instead of just a simple remaster / port, essentially. But that's an easy 90-something right there. Life is Strange True Colors, coming out September 10th, 2021. Projected points, 7.4. That's going to do no less than an 80. People love those games. It's going to do really well. I love those games. I can't wait to try it. Battlefield 2042. coming out October 22nd, projected points 7. This is a tricky one, because I believe they've said that it's multiplayer only, so that might work in its favor. It may not work in its favor. People might be like, it's worth the money, it might not be worth the money, so. But I think Ozzy's looking at another 80 odds for a game with Battlefield 2042. Neo, The World Ends With You, right around the corner, coming out July 27th. Projected points 6.1. That's going to do really well. And finally, Ozzy got Metroid Dread. I would have tried to get that game. I did. I put 10 points down onto it, just in case if he went after Advance Wars instead. His reasoning, it was something along the lines of like December games or playing with knives. Didn't really trust it, so he went with Metroid Dread instead. That game's going to do really well. Samus Returns was around an 84 to 87 overall score, I believe. So Ozzy's looking at an easy 18 points right there. It's bound to happen. So his 2 cater picks, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. It will not release, so that stopped DC Redaya from dropping it, and gives Ozzy a 0, which is perfect, because you don't win none, you don't lose none. And finally, his second counter pick from me, Disgaea 6 Defiance of Destiny, as we already spoke about, has a 76 right now overall, which means a negative 6 points for Ozzy. So as you look at the scores right now, as I throw all 3 up here on the screen, DC's got a negative 27, I've got an 81, and Ozzy's got a 47. The way I look at this, using a relevant sports analogy to this, I'm basically the Toronto Maple Leafs right now, and Ozzy Legend is the Montreal Canadiens after Game 4 of the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs, where I'm leading 3-1. Ozzy Legend's going to come back and just wipe the floor with us in this second round here. Even if Hollow Knight doesn't release this year. Shin Megami Tensei 5, that's going to kill. Axiom Verge 2, that's going to kill. Forza Horizon 5, that's going to kill. 12 Mint, that's going to kill. Pokemon, that's going to kill. Diablo 2 Resurrected, that's going to kill. Life is Strange True Colors, that's going to kill. Metroid Dread, that's going to kill. He's got massive heavy hitters here, all of which I think will release. The only one that's iffy is Hollow Knight, and even if that doesn't release, Ozzy's got 2 drops still remaining, so if before the end of the year they mark Hollow Knight as will not release, Ozzy can drop that and pick up something else and still get even more points. For me, if Horizon does come out, and Total War does come out, and Advance Wars doesn't get dropped, I think I'm going to do pretty well. I think Death's Door is going to do actually fairly well. Probably high 70s, mid 80s. I think Kana is going to do really well. Sorry, DC. Crystals, I think, is going to be a solid release. But just looking at mine, Bayonetta 3, that's a 0. Sports Story, that's probably going to be a 0. Pinball FX, if I get 5 points on that, I'll be lucky. Yeah. So yeah, I do guarantee that Ozzy's going to win. He's just going to break right on through like the juggernaut and just demolish over myself and DC Redaya by the end of the year. But hey, this is a learning experience. This is the first time we've actually done FantasyCritic.games during the league. Next year, I probably will try to be a little bit more reserved, but who knows? Maybe I'll get itchy again and I'll end up picking Metroid Prime 4 just out of the blue again. Why I did that, I don't know. I kind of bet on Forza 5 happening as well, or Forza Motorsport 5 or 6, whatever number they're on right now, instead of Horizon, because I'm like, they showed Forza, but it wasn't Horizon, it was the other one. And then they put it Horizon instead of 5, so I had to drop that one. So, yeah. Honestly, I think midway through right now, even though the scores don't suggest it, I think Ozzy's going to win. If I do the advanced projections, right now it's saying that I'll end up with 146.09 points, Ozzy will get 130.84 points, and DC Redeye will get 4.41 points. I don't think that's going to be the case at all, because I'm looking down through like projected points. They're only giving Axiom Verge an 8. That's going to do more than that. Forza Horizon 5 was just 7 points. They think that game's going to score an average of 77? No. That's an easy 90 rated game right there. Yeah, same thing with like Diablo 2 Resurrected. 77? Really? No, that's going to do higher. Metroid Dread with only 6 points. I think that's going to do 77 overall in OpenCritic? No, that's going to be much higher than that. Yeah, so that's the way she is right now. Hope you guys enjoyed this little update on the draft. More things can change. Oh, we actually should take a look at the league history briefly. I'll keep these games up right here. So let's go back to. So we actually started drafting on December 24th. Interesting. Interesting, yeah. Our opening draft actually ended on January 3rd when Ozzy picked Disgaea as his second counter pick. We actually started on like in December. Actually, our draft started December 20th. Let's see. First pickup, like I went mad on January 9th here. I picked up Metroid Prime 4 with a bid of $5. Spore Story with a bid of $6. Cyber Shadow I got bid with $2, so that was a really good pickup. Stray I got it with a bid of $2. Moving onwards, then on January 16th, I picked up Chris Tales with a bid of $1. Hopefully that pays out for me. On January 23rd, DC Redaya picked up Nier Replicant with a bid of $50. January 23rd, Ozzy got Returnal with $1. Steal of the draft. Absolute steal of the draft. I tried picking up Nier with a bid of $4. DC had $46 on top of that. Also on January 23rd, Ozzy picked up 12 Minutes with $1 and Pokemon Diamond and Pearl Remake, unannounced at the time, with $2. Moving ahead to January 30th, I had 2 more pickups. I picked up Forza Motorsport, Xbox Series X with a bid of $4. Had to drop that one, and Pinball FX with a bid of $6. On February 6th, DC picked up Harvest Moon One World with a bid of $5. I picked up Total War Warhammer 3 with a bid of $24. DC picked up Evil Dead the Game with a bid of $5. Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection with a bid of $5. And Balan Wonderworld with a bid of $10. Moving ahead to February 13th, DC picked up Ghostwire Tokyo with $5. Ozzy picked up Eastward with a bid of $1. And DC picked up Biomutant with a bid of $5. On February 27th, that is when I dropped GT7, Gran Turismo 7, and I picked up Mario Golf Super Rush with a bid of $16. I remember going back into the draft where I originally picked GT7. Ozzy had been thinking about picking that as a counter pick, but instead went with Disgaea. Because if GT actually did came out this year, that would have done gangbusters. On the 27th, Ozzy picked up Diablo 2 Resurrected with a bid of $31. He got Life is Strange True Colors with a bid of $2. On the 29th, he picked up Neo The World Ends With You, and May 29th. Neo the World Ends With You with $1, and Next Gen Battlefield Game with a bid of $1. On the 19th, June 19th, Ozzy dropped The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. I dropped Forza Motorsport Xbox Series X. Ozzy acquired Metroid Dread with a bid of $35, $1 more than what I had at the time. I picked up Advance Wars 1.1 Plus 2 Reboot Camp with a bid of $24. I tried to acquire Metroid Dread with a bid of $10. Failure reason, publisher was outbid, and I never had. I never had any picks left at that point. On June 27th, June 27th. Okay, sorry, the time zones here are really at whack. This would have been the 26th for me when it actually happened. I think these are in probably California type in time zone. Whatever, PST time zones, I think. It just says for me at 1:53 a.m., which is wrong. DC dropped God of War Ragnarok. I dropped Metroid Prime 4. DC picked up Psychonauts 2 with a bid of $1. I picked up Death's Door with a bid of $9. And DC picked up Monster Hunter Stories 2 Wings of Ruin with a bid of $1. And that, folks, is the actual end of our draft update. Sorry for all the rambling. If you got all that, awesome. Thank you for sticking through just me rambling on here about the Glitch Dev Gaming Fantasy Draft and how it's been going. So that's going to do it, folks. I thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. I hope you stick around, keep watching the draft. I'll link the actual league down below as well, so if you are on Fantasy Critic, you can follow along and check out how we're doing in real time at any time you want to check in. So until next time, I've been Lord X. You have been awesome. Both DC Radiah and Ozzy Legend are awesome for doing this draft with me this year. And folks, I'll catch you guys next time.